So we finally have the release of Park Beyond. I played quite a lot of the beta they ran a week before they released the game itself. And I'm going to say that people are going to enjoy this game. However, it seems the more you play, the more it becomes problematic. It runs smooth and everything when you first start, and the more problems reveal themselves the further you get into the campaign. And the same thing happens with the sandbox mode, except in sandbox, the biggest issue for me is the lack of optimization. The further you get, the bigger you make your theme park, the more the performance of the game is going to start dipping. You're going to have audio issues, you're going to have frame drops. So there are problems within this game. And there are a couple of things that hold it back from really taking advantage of its full potential. And I'm going to say, if you guys are interested in this game whatsoever, I would highly recommend saving yourself a little bit of money. CD keys have the game for about 25 quid on PC, and that's instead of the 40 they're originally charging for it. And if you want to buy it through CD keys, I'd appreciate it if you support the channel at the same time. There's a link, like an affiliate link, in the description below. But 25 quid will get you the base game. You can get the bigger edition for 45, so it's 5 more than the original cost, and you get the pass with it. And that is my biggest problem within this game. I launched into the sandbox to see overall how many rides there are. I set it up so that Sophia's lab, which is like your research lab, I set it up so that everything in the tech tree was unlocked. And overall in this game, you have 25 rides. That is everything you get in the base game. You do have the ability to impossify, I believe, every single ride, but there's less than a handful that you can double impossify. And I think they should have put more effort into the impossification, because it was one of their selling points that you can take a basic ride, you can upgrade it, and you can make it like crazy. And some of the rides do that with the initial impossification, but you want things to go above and beyond. And there are literally a few rides in the entire game that you have the ability to impossify twice. When it comes to staff, you can impossify those. I believe the cleaners get something called the Bincinerator, which adds a load of effects and stuff to when they empty bins, and I believe that's going to affect performance if you've got multiple of those as well. You can also impossify the shops. They are quite cool. You get like little additions you can add on and things like that. You unlock extra items for sale. But these impossified items at the shops will only be sold to customers that are really happy. And when it comes to customer or visitor satisfaction and happiness, it's really hard to keep it in the high end. So you start off your sandbox, you set up all your settings, whether you want unlimited money, you want a specific budget and things like that. I started this one in particular off with 100 grand, complete freedom of everything else, all the unlocks and stuff. And like basically, like what I picture when I play a theme park game is there to be actual themes of rides and stuff. And they've only put a little bit into the game for each of the different themes that are available. When it comes to roller coasters, you have 3 that are available in the entire game, and they're all roller coasters that you create yourself. They haven't put a single roller coaster in the game that is already built for you. You have to build them all on your own. And I think there should have been a big mixture of different roller coasters that were available, built by the developers, and also some that you can build on your own. I don't like the fact that there are none that are pre-built. And what I really feel this game has done is given you a basic template or foundation to build your own parks, to go through the campaign and stuff. But I feel as though they've locked a lot of the content in the game behind their season pass. And the season pass is what you get with the bigger edition. So if you're buying it on its own, I believe it's 65 quid. You'll get the base game, you'll get the season pass. It's 40 on its own. When you go to CD keys, it's 25 for the base game, it's 45 for the bigger one. But £25 for a season pass, it's only got 3 DLCs with it. And a season pass normally has 4. Or an annual pass, whatever they're calling it. There are 3 bundles of DLC that are going to be coming into the game. And I believe it's like treated in a similar way to live service, where they've given you 80% of the title they've sold or created or whatever, and the rest of it I believe they pulled out of the game in order to sell to you at a later date. That's what I really feel as though they've done with this, because it's a theme park game. There are different themes. You've got Da Vinci, you've got Candyland, like there's a few different themes in the game, and there are so little items within each category, within each theme. It just feels as though they've gone basic in quite a few areas. And not only that, when it comes to customer or visitor satisfaction, the biggest complaints I had were the fact that I think it was thirst and hunger meters were critical for a lot of visitors. And I had a lot of different food and drink shops, all different styles, bubble tea, seafood, energy drink, soft drink, pizza, hot dogs, burgers. There was loads of different shops and stuff placed. There were vending machines, there were ATMs so that people couldn't run out of money and stuff, and they would stay in the park longer. But for some reason, a lot of hunger and thirst meters go to critical, which lowers the amount of fun they're having. And fun is what you need to build up your amazement meter, because when your amazement meter is filled, you can then go and start impossifying stuff to make it even more fun. But not only that, I think the visitors need reworking because they are cheeky fuckers at the same time as always being hungry and thirsty, because you place a load of benches down, you put trash cans there, you hire staff, so cleanliness is up, and things like that. But these cheeky visitors that come to your park often complain that there are not enough fun rides for them. And I had placed over 10 rides in this park, impossified a bunch of them, and they still weren't happy with the ride selection. There are 25 in the entire game, so I could probably have gone and placed all 25 individual rides, and the customers would still say there's not a big enough selection. It just seems as though no matter what you do, your visitors are always going to be unhappy, whether it's being thirsty and hungry or wanting fun rides and things like that. So it gets a little bit frustrating trying to build a successful theme park. And as I said, the more you play the game, like the further you get into your sandbox, the bigger you make your theme park, the more the performance starts to dip. And then there are a lot of complaints, like out of the gate, about bugs in the game. But the thing is, you go to the Steam reviews, you have a look, and people are not specifying the issues they are having in this game. For me personally, I had the visitors complaining all the time about the being hungry, being thirsty, not having enough fun rides. But I'm going to say that was pretty much the only thing, and I wouldn't really class that as a bug, just more of something that's not been optimized properly within the development of the game. Because if there's 25 rides and you've got 10 down, you would think your customers are happy. Like, you've got a small park, your theme park isn't massive, but they're expecting you to have this gigantic theme park straight away. And I noticed through the beta, I don't know if it's any different now, but through the beta gameplay, I noticed that people would not enter your park unless there are rides. They won't come in for food and drink, even though they demand it. They won't come in for food and drink. They have to have rides in the park in order to be happy. And when it comes to, when you've got all the research stuff unlocked, when you have freedom and stuff in Sandbox, it is so easy to turn a profit. When you don't have upkeep and stuff like that, bringing in a profit is stupidly easy. And I don't think that upkeep is going to be much when it comes to maintenance breakdowns and things like that. I don't think it's going to affect that income that drastically, because staff salaries, I was bringing in about 12, 14 grand and my staff salary was about 3,000. So there's absolutely no way maintenance and upkeep and things like that I had turned off through the settings, there's no way that stuff is going to bring me into a negative balance. So I would always, with, I'm going to say quite a rushed park, I would always be turning a profit. And all of the prices, customers are happy with the prices at their default. For the majority of stuff, the only thing I ever saw an issue with in terms of pricing was the roller coaster I built during the beta, which I don't know if they've got round to and fixed, but when it had its default price, customers weren't happy, they refused to enter the ride. I lowered it from $7 to $4 and they still weren't happy, and when I put it down to $2, they all jumped on it. So I think the biggest issue for me personally, which isn't even necessarily a bug, but I believe is the visitors just being incredibly demanding and needy and not appreciating what you've done in your theme park. And I think the visitors are a very important factor to this game as well. So I feel that is quite a biggie. And then in terms of bugs, I didn't really experience many. Performance issues, yeah, but actual bugs in the game, I didn't experience many whatsoever, if any at all, off the top of my head. But there are people sitting there complaining about bugs that just will not tell you what the bugs are. They're sitting there in a review, this game's got so many bugs, it's lacking so much polish. Well, what are your issues? People are not going to be able to tell what's going wrong in the game and what could possibly hold them back from having fun in the game if people aren't actually pointing out what the problem is. So overall, I really enjoy the impossification, even though a lot of the rides do feel quite lazy. In terms of, yeah, after the first one, they do quite a lot of wacky stuff, but there are, I'd say, like, there are literally, I could probably count on one hand how many rides there are that have the ability to double impossify. And I don't think that's good at all. Like, there is a huge lack of rides available. There are no pre-built coasters. It doesn't matter what you do, your visitors are in some way going to be disappointed with what you've done. Like, even after placing vending machines alongside shops, customers are still finding a way to become hungry and thirsty. And I really feel as though they've held quite a bit of content back in order to release an annual pass, chuck out what they call DLC, which is actually cut content. And I believe some of the game is being held back for them to sell to you at a later date. So overall, I'd recommend picking it up, but I would not recommend paying 40 quid for it. Not at all. And on that note, we are going to leave the video there. If you enjoyed it, leaving a like is appreciated. If you wish to support me further as a creator, there are links in the description. Let me know your thoughts about the video in the comments. And if you want to watch more, you can click the video on screen. All support on the channel is greatly appreciated, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.